and then you discard the water, right?
Because it contains the thing you don't want.
When you soak something, you deactivate something. But activate, but you don't need to get rid of the water, right? Like when we soak wild rice before we eat it, we're soaking it to activate the phytic acid. Excuse me, we're activating the enzyme phytase that destroys phytic acid. When they come together, the anti-nutrient is destroyed, and I don't need to discard the water. I can cook with that water because that anti-nutrient is now, for all intents and purposes, gone.
In fact, if you did throw it away, you'd actually lose your B vitamin.
Yeah, which is water soluble.
Oh, that's good to know because I've been tossing the water from
No, you don't. When you soak something, you don't need to discard the water. You just need to know: am I truly soaking, or am I meaning to leach?
I'd like to step in here and say that for a lot of people in the raw food community, or who've come from the raw food community, this distinction's not usually made. So they have the sense, okay, these nuts need to be soaked, these seeds need to be soaked. I've never seen distinction in the raw food community about whether or not it's always throw the water out. And this is valuable because Arthur's saying it's not always throw the water out. By the way, making an infusion or a decoction is a leaching process, except that you're keeping what you've leached. Your intention is to use what's been leached. So you go, I'm going to make a chamomile tea. What you've leached is what you want to consume. However, with something like the beech or acorn, what you leach is what you want to get rid of. So it's not necessarily leaching because it's bad. It could be leaching because it's good. But the idea is you're extracting into the liquid to the solvent as opposed to a soak. And then you said that you didn't say leaching and soaking. You said leaching and boiling.
Right.
No, okay. Now this is interesting. Sometimes what we're doing is heating up the water because the heat will deactivate the thing. And that's different than trying to get something out. You know, they say, like, if you boil your broccoli, keep the water. That's because there's nothing in the broccoli you need to get rid of, whereas certain things you'd boil and then throw the water out.
What about broccoli and the glycogen?
Destroyed by the heat.
Oh, okay. But that's not in the water
Doesn't
then.
have to be leached out.
Okay, cool.
So, again, certain things you might need heat to deactivate. In that case, steaming works. And there's not really any water to get rid of. So if you were steaming something, it would be different than leaching, because if you steamed it, it's not going to... So say you have something that's like kind of bitter and you want to get a wash out of it, steaming wouldn't work to do that, because the stuff would still be in it, as opposed to a boil, and then which is a leach, and you'd throw the water out.
So my point is, know what you're doing. Do things with intent. Like, why do they soak beans? Right? It's not just to soften them. What are you doing? And other things, right?
What is that? It's not phytic acid. It's,
there's a couple of. There's also some insoluble.
Trypsin?
There's an enzyme inhibitor there, and some other things that you're dealing with. But that's the point: is know what you're doing, because Daniel's made a really good distinction. You throw the water out of rice, you throw away all your B complex vitamins, assuming your rice has any to begin with. If you eat wild rice that you gather, then it's way up here, right? So good to know that. So that's just a really important distinction for us to make.